So to start on your visual brand guide, you're going to come back to your mood board and you're going to figure out what's already there. That gives us some information to work with, and we kind of talked through some of this with our group here. So what key visual elements appear on your mood board and what key visual elements don't appear? The things that don't appear are as important as what does. So if we take a look at mine again, you can see what appears. Got contrast, hardness, but with texture. It's very urban. It's black and white and gray and cool colors. And what you're not going to see is primary or pastel colors. That is not a color palette that's going to pop up in my world. You're not going to see things that have this kind of like overt softness or femininity. There's not going to be, we're not putting in like pink and sparkly, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my brand, it's Kathy's. And you're also not going to see things that are really traditional or country, like my vibe is much more urban and industrial. And again, no super shiny. There's no crazy, it's all that matted texture happening. So if you know this just based off of your mood board, you can start to put together your style guide really easily. So I think for you, Sarah, we didn't see, with the exception of that bright green, but it's still a warm green, we didn't see any cool colors. Yours is really based on those kind of the stages of the fire and that nice gray. So that's important, I think, to keep note in your branding. All right, so let's establish your visual style guide. Let's figure out what's important for you. So we're going to start with color. And color can be a really powerful way for people to remember your brand. Really iconic brands, people can associate with them based on their colors. Do you guys know what that is?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yep. That one. That might be a little harder. It's still food service.
Starbucks.
Starbucks, yep. How about that one?
Tiffany's.
Yep, that's Tiffany's blue right there. So see, certain colors or color combinations become really iconic for a brand. And while you may never have Tiffany blue or Louboutin red, you might still get to a point where people are thinking of you and associating colors with you. And that's really what we want. So choosing your brand's colors, you want to focus on one or two main colors. That's it. It should be a combo of one or two that are always going to be your primary. I think this is going to be an interesting challenge for you, Sarah, because we were talking about a broad palette here. Then you could have your accent colors. And again, stick to a limited color palette. So unless you have a really compelling reason to say, my brand is the rainbow, it's probably not. It's probably something a little more kind of toned down. And then make sure you're choosing colors that fit the emotions behind your brand. So Kathy is all about happiness. You're not using blacks and grays. I mean, you might use black as a pop, but you're not using it as a color that's really critical to your brand. You're using something brighter and happier, right? Because that's what we think of when we think of happiness. And you do want to avoid colors that are strongly owned by another brand in your space. So if you're a jewelry designer, I wouldn't make your main color something similar. First of all, you can't make it Tiffany blue. They own that color. But I wouldn't go similar to that, right? It's going to be hard to own that because someone else in your space already does.